Hi. Welcome, welcome. I am Michelle Deline and I'm the president of the American Association of Surgery PAs. I'm so excited to be here with you tonight to share the art of integration of silence as medicine. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, let's make sure everyone can see. Okay, perfect. So I have been practicing neurosurgery for, oh, yes, it's blurred out. There it is. Okay, you can see it. Great. I've been practicing neurosurgery for 10 years since 2016. It's kind of crazy, right? What happened? A lot of things. And throughout my career, not only have I been able to get better and better as I transition from one job to the next, but like a lot of us who are practicing in 2020, we were really challenged with burnout. Um, and for me, physically, my body began to shut down. And I went through this whole workup. I was diagnosed with MS and I lost control over my legs. And in the OR, I started like dropping things because I couldn't feel my hands. And my hearing and vision was going. And it was this invitation for me to really investigate other modalities of healing that were not taught in PA school. So, since October 27, 2019, I've been integrating silence as medicine every single day in the form of automatic self transcendence, which is a type of meditation. And not only did I develop the awareness and the central nervous regulation to heal my physical body, but I noticed it really helped provide mental clarity. And I showed up differently at work. I was able to problem solve in a way that was easier, and I was able to communicate in a way that was effective and really become a leader. And so that's why I'm so excited to share with you today this topic because it has changed my life. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. This is the introduction to silence as medicine. Drum roll. It's going to be so good, you guys. So, all of us have quite the fast paced, noise driven society that we're exposed to on a daily basis. From the alarm that wakes us up, usually, at a blaring type of frequency, to the music that's blasting in the car on the way to work, to the busy hospital. They're calling codes, every 15, 20 minutes if you're working in a really busy trauma hospital. In the OR, you have all the different noises of like the bovie and the bipolar and the suction and, what the anesthesia monitor. So it is so incredibly important for us healthcare providers to intentionally incorporate silence into our daily routine, not only to regulate the central nervous system, but to provide our brain with the opportunity to develop neuroplasticity, neurogenesis, create new neurons, so that we can integrate everything that we are exposing ourselves to, that we're learning, that we're developing, so we can avoid any kind of incoherence, confusion, anxiety, burnout, right? And this can be overlooked because in America, we live in this high paced type of lifestyle that people commend us for. And I've noticed throughout my journey, please share if it's been different for you. But sometimes people are asking, oh, well, how do you make time for that? Or, oh, I can't sit still in silence. I'm like, well, why? Like, oh, because my thoughts are so loud, they're so active. Well, that's part of it. That's like the purging process, right? So I invite you to get quite curious, to just play with this idea of sitting in silence 20 minutes a day And after doing it for 7 days, just kind of notice like how different you feel, because it is quite the potent healing tool that can nurture the nervous system and promote emotional and spiritual health. Okay, so let's dive in here. Let's see. Oh, my Prezi is acting up. Please hold. Let's start from the beginning. Have you guys ever used Prezi? It usually works amazing, but today it's teaching me something. Okay, let's just start it here. I just want to presenter view. Okay, this is what I want. Present and expand. Okay, cool. There we go. Live and you learn. So the importance of silence in the provider's daily routine. Like I was mentioning, there's constant noise all the time in our lifestyles normally. And so this can overwhelm the senses. Not only can it create confusion, anxiety, burnout, but it also deprives the body of the natural ability to integrate everything that we expose ourselves to. It decreases our memory capacity. It decreases the ability for us to study ourselves, to connect and really learn and understand who we are. And it decreases the capacity to connect with our patients and operate in a productive way if we're consistently exposing ourselves to noise and depriving ourselves of silence. See, silence fosters mental clarity, and we'll dive deep into the neuroscience in the next few slides. But you can expect it to really influence the way that you think, the way you feel, the way you behave in just 7 days of practicing silence for 20 minutes a day. And mindful silence reduces burnout. You show up to work with this newfound enthusiasm. You remember why you're practicing medicine. You're able to find meaning and purpose, not only in the profession, but in your role in your surgical team, and develop that camaraderie and rapport with your patients. Silence also improves emotional regulation. So instead of, I like to think of it like this. Our emotions are kind of like ocean waves. And if you're just, have you ever been in the ocean and you're like fighting the waves and you're like choking and kind of like drowning and you get tumbled under there and you can't even get up for air? It's just throwing you all over the place. And a lot of people live there. They live in a way that they allow their emotions to kind of throw them all over the place, and they're not so sure how to regulate their emotions. And so integrating silence is like all of a sudden you're provided a surfboard and you are the surfer and you are surfing those waves, right? And when you ride the wave, oh my gosh, it's sunny, you can breathe, it's fluid, maybe you have some surfing moves up there, like you are on top. So you're not letting the ego kind of pull you into that emotional rhythm. Instead, you're becoming the observer, you're witnessing the emotions come up within the body, and you're able to ride the waves and navigate the surfboard, which is analogous to your behavior in a way that instead of reacting, you can respond. So, integration of silence improves this provider-patient relationship. And when you're able to heal your own body, when you're able to regulate your emotions, when you're able to think clearly, then you have this deepened capacity to not only just be in the room and hear your patient, but actively listen. You can also integrate silence with your clinical visit. So I love this, asking like open-ended questions. Oh, okay, like how do you feel today? Or what brings you in today? And then sit in silence and actively listen. So not only to their words, but to their body language. You can notice like where their body points to the area that they maybe are expressing pain or paresthesia or weakness or whatever it is that you're evaluating, and be in tune to the deeper feeling, the energy of the room, and be able to pick up on subtle cues that can help you not only nail what is the problem that they're presenting that they want fixed, but also offer treatment options that are really going to serve them, and not just like a cookie cutter, oh, patient presents with XYZ, then I'm going to recommend surgery. Okay. So understanding the science behind silence. This is my favorite here. Okay, so I am quite the neuroscience nerd, and I'm really excited to share that with you today. So silence has significant physiological effects such as lowering blood pressure and reducing heart rate. And this comes from the cortical maturation of the insula while we practice integrating silence into our daily routine. So here's a beautiful picture of the brain. Oh my gosh, drop in the chat, guys. Does anyone do cranial surgery? When I first did my first ever like brain tumor resection, I was like, is this real life? Like, I love this so much. So cool. But understanding the neuroanatomy and physiology is super cool because we all have a brain, and we can practice these very simple tools like incorporating silence to develop our brain in the way to allow us to really optimize the way that we think, feel, behave, and show up as amazing PAs that we are. So when we sit in silence 20 minutes a day, what's happening is, if you look at this part of the brain called the insula, which is actually deep to the temporal lobe, the neuronal cell bodies increase over time with the accumulated time sitting in silence. And what does that mean? So neurogenesis is happening here. Our brain is quite neuroplastic, and it's actually creating precursor cells. It's creating immature neurons, and then they mature into full functioning neurons, and we can appreciate that maturation through the density of neuronal cell bodies. So under the microscope, what looked like, little dots everywhere, maybe 10% of the field being observed, is now 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. It's becoming more dense. And what does that do? It allows the neurons to communicate in a way that are more efficient, that is faster. And remember, nerves that wire together fire together. So it happens very, very quickly the more that you practice. And they say it takes 10,000 hours to be a master. So don't beat yourself up if you're sitting there in silence and your brain is creating all of these thoughts and your body wants to get up. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza, but I went to his retreat in Switzerland last year. And he says when you're sitting in silence, it's kind of like training a puppy. And the puppy is really excited. The puppy wants to eat. The puppy wants to play. Just like us, we want to get up. We want to make coffee. We want to check our emails. We want to check our patient list. We want to XYZ. And you have to go, stay, just like a puppy. And you train yourself over and over and over. And your family, like my daughter Ella, she was only 18 months old when I started practicing this. It was so hard, gosh, as a mom, sitting there and, I want to take care of her, but she knew that like I was healing. So with practice, the people that you live with, the people that you take care of, they know that you have this priority for self-care and self-development, and they honor that. Same thing if you have any animals. In the beginning, they're like, what are you doing? They like jump in your lap, they lick your face, they bring you the toy, and then you're like, no, I'm sitting here, I'm meditating, and then eventually they curl up in your lap. So Psychologically, this cortical maturation of the insula or the insular lobe enhances emotional regulation, it reduces anxiety, improves cognitive function, and including memory and problem solving. Okay, so let's dive into this just a little bit more. So, silence and the nervous system. Let's truly explore the profound effects of silence on our nervous system, essential for well being. And by understanding how the nervous system responds to noise, we can understand the importance of incorporating intentional silence as medicine. So, like mentioned earlier, noise activates the stress response, right? This increases our sympathetic activity. We increase our blood pressure naturally. Our heart rate increases. We begin to become diaphoretic. And now our brain waves become very active in this beta brainwave state. We are literally primed to respond to noise as a threat. And so our body responds instinctively in a way to either fight, freeze, run, or there's another one, right? I think there's another one. Drop it in the chat if you guys know it. But there's this survival state or there's this revival state. And so noise activates this survival state known as the sympathetic nervous system. And silence allows us to shift. Okay, so silence resets the nervous system. It provides that counterbalance and it allows the nervous system to move from sympathetic to parasympathetic. This allows us to relax, to recover, to heal, and in time, so many benefits arise, okay? A balanced nervous system restores our health. Yeah, that was like the primary reason that I started integrating this into my daily routine because my body was like literally shutting down on me. I had no other option. Like this was it, or I would lose everything that I had ever worked for. And I was like, no, okay. But then the cool thing is you keep it up, your body has healed. Now you're able to think clearly, you're able to regulate your emotions, you're able to develop connection with yourself, therefore creating the capacity to develop better connection with all of the relationships in your life, including your patients. And this enhances your communication, not only verbally, but you're able to pick up on physical cues and subtle intuitive cues that best serve your patient population and your development as a surgery PA. Okay, cool. So let's talk a little bit more about emotional healing through silence. Have you been in a really rough case? And gosh, it is just going wrong. And then all of a sudden, perhaps you feel your body is hot, the noises in the room are really loud, you feel confused, overwhelmed, you feel unhealthy stress, and this emotional turmoil. It really takes you away from the executive function of the frontal lobe and the ability to make decisions and act in a way that's very responsive and therapeutic. And so these feelings of incoherence, these sensations of like brain fog or mental fatigue and emotional distress can arise. Anyone been there? Yeah. Remember one time there was this case and the trocar like went through a major vessel and the abdomen just started filling with blood. And this was the first time that I had ever felt like this. And yeah, the patient ended up being okay, and we were able to respond in a way that was appropriate and life-saving. But wow, was it stressful. So, incorporating silence can better help you regulate your central nervous system when you're feeling those things. I offer you this. Take 3 deep breaths. Number 1, in that acute period, you're able to shift from a sympathetic to parasympathetic state and just allow yourself to be silent, check in with your body, and then ask, okay, what is the next best therapeutic thing that I can do? And you can either say this out loud to your team so they can direct you and make it easy so you don't have to really think about it. Or if you're by yourself, you can say it out loud to yourself or silently. And so this practice of daily incorporation of silence allows you to not get so sucked into the emotions of that moment. Like earlier, we were talking about emotions are kind of like ocean waves, can pull you under and tumble. We want to be able to observe this turmoil that's going on in the physical body, like jumping on a surfboard and just riding the waves and being able to direct the surfboard with these very intelligent actions that we can responsibly take instead of just react to. Okay. So silence offers this opportunity for reflection and emotional clarity, especially after one of these types of situations. It is incredibly important to debrief with your team. And in the debrief, everyone is going to have all sorts of ideas. It is important when you're listening to those ideas that you're not just hearing the words and waiting to respond, but you're taking a moment to silence I call it the monkey mind. It's like the one that's always active. It has its own little narrative, right? And with practice of incorporating silence every day, you can also silence this monkey mind and you can be fully present and listen to your team as they share, what worked, what didn't work, what we propose we do next time. And this is really going to help your team evolve and better navigate future situations. Daily silence also allows individuals to reconnect with their inner selves, right? And when we truly understand ourselves, when we truly understand, what triggers us, what is our natural coping mechanism, how do we best operate? Do we like to multitask or do we like to focus? Then we can communicate with our team and structure our day in a way that's naturally easier for us. And then guess what? You just leveled up. Like everything, you don't have to suffer. You don't have to go against the grind and do things a certain way because someone said to do it that way. Ultimately, the ultimate like life hack is to understand yourself deeply so that you can create a life that is fluid and easy and is rewarding and something that you're showing up with like purpose every day, right? You're also, like I mentioned earlier, able to process emotions in a way that you're not thrown around by emotions, but instead allow yourself to feel them, to notice them, and then direct your behavior in a way that is therapeutic. And guess what? You spend time in silence every day, all of a sudden, you are a lot more calm. Patients and coworkers ask me this all the time. They're like, "How are you so calm? I feel so good when I'm around you." Well, we create this electromagnetic field with the energy that, we take care of. And so if we're not tending to ourselves, if we're not intentionally regulating our central nervous system, then we can show up quite anxious and chaotic and scatterbrained. And people can feel that, especially, highly sensitive people. So not only is it creating peace for yourself, but it's palpable peace that your patients and coworkers can sense too. All right, let's move on to the next one here. So, impact of silence on neurogenesis. Okay, this is cool. If you're like a neuroscience nerd like me, you're gonna love this. So, silence allows the precursor cells and immature neurons in our brain, specifically in our insular lobe, as we talked about, but also in another really cool part of the brain, and that is the dentate gyrus. Does anyone know what that is? So this daily intentional silence stimulates dentate gyrus neuroplasticity. Don't you worry, I'm going to show you. Okay, so here's this beautiful cross section of the brain. And you can see the dentate gyrus is this, it looks like teeth, right? Dentate means teeth. And gyrus is this more profound type of fold within the brain. And so this is actually a part of the hippocampus, or the part of the brain that contributes to the way that we create memories. And so this dentate gyrus develops over time as we sit in silence. It gets stronger. It is able to function better. And what does that mean? We're able to create stronger, more memorable episodic memories. Not only can we remember a situation, but we can remember the way it smelled, it felt, the way it made us feel. We can remember the patient's story, their age, their sexual orientation, their whole story, like the physiology, the mechanism of action. You can remember the way the MRI looked. You can remember the operation, the surgery, the outcome. Through daily practice of silence, it primes the brain in a way to create stronger episodic memories. And this is a pro tip right here. Has anyone ever been like so spatially disoriented where they get lost all the time? That was me. And still, to some degree, I'm kind of like that. But through the practice of daily science, we're able to spatially code in a way where we can better understand not only our proprioception, which really aids in first assisting when we're operating, knowing where our hands are in space, how we can stabilize whenever we're throwing like a 4-0 neurolon, or operating under the microscope, or incising the thecal sac, or handling different nerves. We're able to better understand like how much pressure, how much tension to apply, but also in physical space. Like perhaps you're in the room with a lot of people. There's a surgeon and a resident and a PA, and you're kind of retracting and navigating in a way where you're like doing a balancing trick. And so daily science can actually develop neuroplasticity within the dentate gyrus to help you physically in space. And this can translate to your extracurricular activities, like your movement practice, working out, doing yoga. I'm an aerialist, and when I hang upside down and spin, and when a teacher directs me, you guys should try this. Like, I know my right and left, but when I'm upside down, something happens in the brain. And when you're spinning, it's like, it definitely adds like a whole layer of challenge. And so this practice of daily silence allows you to develop this spatial awareness that can be really helpful in so many ways. And lastly, but not least, it allows us to pick up on patterns. We can separate, like, oh, when I do this, this happens. And when she does that, that happens. And when this patient comes into my clinic with this symptom, I notice they're always doing this, or it's this time of the year, or it's after this trip. And you're able to separate those patterns and then recognize them and communicate a way to promote efficacy of whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. Like number one in surgery, like, oh, pattern. Well, every time that he goes to reach for a kerosene, I need a wet lap in my left hand, and I have a suction in my right hand, and I'm going to suck away all the blood so that they can use the kerosene to take a good bite. And then I'm going to work on effectively getting that piece of bone out of the kerosene, because my lap is wet. Number one, it's easier that way. And I'm going to do a little twist motion. Oh, there it goes. It's much easier, right? Anytime a surgeon picks up suture, you have the scissors. You're ready to cut, right? And maybe you notice, oh, you're assigned to work with this person this day, and perhaps you feel a bit more anxious. You know how important it is to keep up with your wellness practices on that day, to make sure you're well rested, that you have good nutrition, so that you can really be on your A game and minimize any type of potential catastrophe. Talking about that, if we spend some time in intentional silence every day, it actually improves the avoidance of catastrophic interference and improves the ability to focus. What does this mean exactly? It means that when you're in a challenging situation and you feel overwhelmed or anxious or, goodness, just confused, we can call that catastrophic interference. Maybe the patient is really taking a dive. Maybe there's something personal in your life that is influencing the way that you feel at work. Maybe it's a really challenging patient with perhaps an angry or aggressive attitude. If we're able to regulate our central nervous system in a way where no matter what, we are calm, we are cool as a cucumber, we are totally able to focus, and we're not allowing any of that catastrophic interference into our being, because we're grounded in this peace and calm parasympathetic state, then we become the observer. Like I mentioned earlier, we're the surfer on the surfboard riding the wave of the experience. And see, life is stressful, but you don't have to allow that stress to stress you out. You can observe it, hold space for it, witness it, and then you could be the amazing PA that you are. You can focus and you can offer this incredibly responsive presence with the ability to solve problems, to offer surgical recommendations or conservative recommendations in a way that best help your patient. And you're able to separate whatever is going on personally in your life. Oh, I'm going to put that in that container and we'll allow ourselves to process that later. But right now, I'm going to focus on my job and the patient before me. Daily silence integration also adds flexibility to the neuronal network where novel information may be integrated into established representations. What does this mean? So, information is coming at us all the time, and we're actually using a reticular activating system to filter through. And this is how we recognize patterns, right? And when we allow ourselves the time and space for our brain to mature in a way where we can regulate our central nervous system and really shift from a sympathetic state into a parasympathetic state, the information that's coming at us in 360 degrees is very easily integrated in a way that is coherent and clear. We don't feel the overwhelm. We don't feel anxiety. We're actually able to improve the ability to multitask and to consciously restore memories and consciously store information into these established representations that are easily recalled later. So you're kind of becoming a superhuman. This is a really cool trick, and I highly suggest that you try. Okay. Okay, so let's jump in. Improving performance by integrating silence. We're all about increasing our productivity, the ability to innovate, and also to be resilient, right? So, this practicing of silence every day allows us to create neurogenesis, which is new nerves within the brain. And so, when we are exposed to a challenging environment, our brain is primed. It's like, oh, I know exactly what to do. I'm actually going to increase the amount of nerves here so they fire together, they wire together. And when I have something that is challenging, my brain is able to call upon that support system, those precursor cells, the neuroblasts, the immature neurons, to recruit them to improve productivity, innovation, problem solving, adaptability, and resilience. And upon increased cognitive demand, so as you level up in your job, as you're exposed to new surgeries, new surgeons with different idiosyncrasies, maybe new patients that are more complex. These precursor cells, these neuroblasts, these immature neurons within your brain have already been primed to proliferate. And so they're ready. They're actually more responsive than the pre-existing neuronal network because they've just been created. They've had this momentum of growth, and the brain is more easy to create more growth because it's gaining the momentum, right? And they're more easily recruited that way. So what does that mean? That means that when you sit in silence every day, you're allowing the brain to undergo neurogenesis, you're creating neuroplasticity, you're setting this foundation for the ability to show up to a challenging situation and respond in a way that is coming from a grounded, center, calm approach. And you're actually able to use all the information that's coming at you in a way that helps you make a decision that's crystal clear instead of being overwhelmed. Okay, so let's get into it. Like, how do we practically integrate silence into our daily lives, especially as busy bees that we are as surgery PAs? Well, it's simple. Number one is like you have to commit. You have to commit. For me, it was something that was non-negotiable because my health was on the line. And there was a lot for me to lose, like if I didn't figure out how to heal my body. So, what I did as a brand new mom, as a head of the household, as working a full-time general surgery job at the time, I would wake up at 4 a.m. And my meditation teacher, who taught me how to sit in silence, said that this practice of sitting in silence actually offers more energetic restoration to the physical body, the mind, and the spirit than sleep. And I was like, wow, that's fascinating. Well, I'm going to give it a shot. And so I'd get up at 4 a.m., I'd move my body a little bit. And at the time, I had a lot of back pain. So I would sit on like a cushion and put my back on a wall. Now my back is a lot stronger and I can like sit in lotus pose for hours. It's crazy how the body can heal and how resilient it can be. But set yourself up for success. Maybe sit in a chair. You can, if you live with people, say, hey, I'm trying this new practice. I'm going to sit here for 20 minutes just so you know, and then I'll be back. And establish a daily routine by allocating specific times dedicated to silence. We call this habit stacking. So maybe you get up, you brush your teeth, you go through some gentle movements just to get really comfortable. You can light a candle, sit up straight, put your back on the wall, and then create a space. So it's so important to create a dedicated space. This can be in a different room. It could be, simple as a candle on the floor by your bed. But try to get out of bed, because if you just wake up and you just like set a random timer on your iPhone for 20 minutes and you sit in bed, what's going to happen? You're going to fall asleep. You're not you're not going to be like automatically self-transcending. You're going to just be in this kind of weird state, and then you're going to activate your sympathetic nervous system from this iPhone alarm or Android alarm that like shocks you back into your beta brainwave and sympathetic state. So I'll share with you a timer that I use that will allow you to establish the beginning and the ending of this 20-minute interval without jarring you back into that sympathetic state. Okay, so here it is. Are you ready? Get your cell phones out. Get ready to take a screenshot because you're invited to use Insight Timer. This is great too because when you log in, it's actually going to give you a quote for every single day. I'll pull it up here. Oh, it says breathe and let be. So cute. And those quotes can be kind of fun just to pay attention to. And then so you can see at the top you have like your profile, and when you hit like certain landmarks, you get certain stars, and it tracks like how many minutes that you've sat in silence. For me, I've sat in silence 79.3 thousand minutes, which is wild. And to be honest, I haven't actually used this every time I've done it, so it's actually more than that. So now you have that app, you guys. Cool. Now it's time for us to practice, because PAs were so good at learning and going through the things, but the way that we actually learn is through practice, right? And that's why we're in surgery, because we're very good when it comes to practicing like tangible things with our bodies. So let's begin. We're going to take 3 minutes here. And so you get a little taste, but I want you to know that most of the benefit of sitting in silence occurs after 16 minutes. So this 20-minute recommendation every day is what is really needed to see a meaningful difference quicker, Okay, so everyone get comfortable, close your eyes, take a deep belly breath in, and let it go. Okay, I know you can do better than that. I want you to be dramatic, okay? So close your eyes, nice tall spine. Now big belly breath in, expand through the chest, make the belly big, allow the rib cage to open, and then sigh it all out, drama. Okay, that was better. Now one more. You ready? Biggest breath yet. Inhale. Expand more. Inhale. And sigh it out. Beautiful. Now allow your eyes to remain closed. Roll your shoulders back and down. Allow your hands to rest on your thighs. Palms up to receive, or palms down to ground. I offer you this mantra. Repeat after me. Hum Sa. Yes, Hum space SA. Hum Sa. Beautiful. We're just going to spend a few minutes here silently reciting Hum Sa. Noticing the thoughts of our mind and using this mantra as an anchor to bring our attention into this healing space of silence deep within the chest. Okay, the timer begins now. So begin your mantra, and shortly I'll guide you back. Slowly begin to open and close the eyes, allowing small amounts of light back into the central nervous system. Create any gentle movements that feel really good, like dropping your ear to your shoulder, your chin into your chest, ear to other shoulder. Maybe stretching the arms, reaching above the head, coming back into the body and noticing how you feel. If anyone wants to unmute themselves and share their experience, I invite you to. Don't be shy. This is not the moment to be silent. Oh, I'm gonna call on you. Are you ready? Hillary, can you share with us how you feel?
Very relaxed.
Oh,
Feel great. Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. And that was just a few minutes. Imagine after 20, right? Allison, how are you feeling? Allison may have drifted off into space. Are you there? And Jesselyn, how are you?
Hi there, doing well. That was very nice. I like to practice some meditation on my own, but not something I do daily. So nice to hear about all the benefits of kind of doing it more regularly.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
How often are you meditating now?
Oh, it's too far in between.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, what a beautiful invitation for daily practice for you.
definitely.
Cool. And Adelaide, how are you feeling?
Yeah, feeling great, very relaxed.
Oh, good. Oh, I love that for you guys. You're on the way to success. So good.
Sorry, Michelle, I couldn't get unmuted.
Oh, you're in. Tell us,
I
Allison,
am
how
here.
was it?
It was really enjoyable. I had a follow-up question that came to mind even in the short period of trial.
Yeah.
How do you combat the the rest of the thoughts to stay in your silence?
Oh, I love that. And I'm a coach, so I'm gonna really call you up. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So the words that we use shape our reality, and how interesting that you choose the word combat because it feels like that, right? It feels like a fight. When we're able to shift from, remember how I was talking about being kind of tousled around by our like emotions and being in the wave? We're able to shift out of that and more observe. So, this is what's happening. Your monkey mind is like deep within the thoughts, it's a very strong and loud narrative. But the more that you honestly just sit there, and as time elapses every day that you practice this, you're able to separate your attention from that egoic mind, that very loud narrative that feels like you're fighting with thoughts, into this place of observation. And the way I'm very visual, the way I visualize this is I'm taking my, I call it like my highest self or my true conscious awareness, and I sit above the thought and I witness. And I'm like, oh, wow, how interesting. She's thinking about this thing again. Yeah, she's like thinking about her schedule, about what she's gonna eat for dinner, how she's gonna take a bath, and like when can she go to the gym? I'm like, oh my God, like, babe, I love you. You're like you're such a planner. And just kind of noticing and shifting from that combative frequency, because to be honest, that's not where I started. My thoughts were, oh my God, my body's attacking myself. My leg is going to get weak every day. Like, I'm going to lose everything that I've ever worked for. I'm going to end up in a wheelchair. And then the thoughts of, oh, I have this toxic person in my life, and how could they do that? How could they be so mean? And so um, the progression of the evolution of the quality of thoughts naturally improves the longer you sit and create this observer type of perspective. And the more that you practice shifting your attention from engaging and assuming the identity that those thoughts you're thinking are actually you into this higher perspective of, oh, I'm noticing, I'm witnessing, that's cool, how interesting. And I recite my mantra, hum sa. And you recite it softly, like you're talking to a young child or small animal, and visualize this anchor kind of pulling you deep within the heart space that's infinite and ever expansive. It's calm and it's silent, like the bottom of the ocean. You spend a little time there, you resonate with that space, and hey, inevitably, those thoughts arise again because we are brilliant women. We're all women here right now. And we've trained our brain to think, and that's so important for everything that we do, especially as PAs. But we're like a dog, kind of training, sit, stay. Instead of engaging in the thoughts I choose in this moment, I'm going to say my mantra again, and I'm going to anchor back into that healing space of silence. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah. No, it's super interesting to learn about too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is cool to learn about, and everyone's practice is unique. Know that every time you sit in silence, it is incredibly therapeutic to recognize the uniqueness of this situation, that you're not trying to like go deep in meditation or silence just like that one really good time, because then you're chasing it. Like what you're doing is you're allowing the magic of silence to take effect. And some days I sit out on my front porch and I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be so good. And then school bus comes by, kids on their bike go by, someone decides to mow their lawn, and then the garbage guy comes by. And I used to get so mad. I was like, I just want to meditate in peace. And then I was like, it dawned on me. And these like epiphanies happen the more you sit in silence. It's like, Michelle, guess what? You can use the noise to go deeper, kind of like a mantra. And so when a trash guy would come by, like, and it was like really loud and obnoxious, and I hear them picking up trash and banging it on the asphalt, I'm like, oh, I'm taking out all the trash of my subconscious mind. Woof, there it goes. There it goes. And then when the universe around me creates a bit of silence, I use my mantra to kind of like anchor in, and I'm able to find more relaxation, more peace, more coherence, more resonance. So I invite you to practice this in a way that you're not telling people, oh, shh, be quiet, I'm sitting in silence. Like, that's never going to happen. But you can use the noises around you to enhance the therapeutic potential of this practice. Cool. So silence serves as a sanctuary. It's this safe space where we can really study ourselves, this practice of introspection. It allows not only us to enhance the capacity to deeply connect with ourselves, to better understand how we best authentically operate in flow with the way that we think and feel, behave, the way we show up in the world, the way we interact with others, the way we can compassionately listen to patients and hear them beyond their words. We can develop this emotional clarity instead of being tumbled around by our emotions and combating our thoughts, we can create this peace and coherence within the mind, the physical body, and we can develop spiritual alignment. And this allows us to transform the noise of daily life into opportunities for growth and healing. And then this is when it gets really fun. You realize that you are quite limitless, and those things that perhaps you've settled for before that feel combative, that feel like you're suffering or forcing, like all of a sudden you're like, yeah, not really about that. And new doors open. Your job changes, your relationship changes, your relationship with yourself changes, and you get to evolve as this like amazing human being. And the sky is the limit for you, babe. Like all things are possible. And so, some very simple, actionable tools for embracing silence are these three. Try it tomorrow if you're working or if you're getting in your car to drive. Instead of putting on an audiobook or listening to music or whatever it is, YouTube, just drive to work in silence. Notice like the thoughts that come up and just kind of like observe them. Like, oh yeah, that's cool, but like I'm gonna be silent. You could tune into the surroundings. Perhaps you notice, wow, like the sun looks beautiful as it's rising, or you notice the trees, or if you're getting up early like me, the moon and the stars. And it can be kind of uncomfortable the first few times if you're not used to it. Just hold space for that. Like you can breathe deeply, put your hand on your heart. I do this thing. I'm like, Michelle, you're doing a great job. This self-soothing, this like patting, especially if physical touch is one of your primary love languages, can be really soothing to the nervous system. And at night, everyone, before you go to bed, journal. I've invested in a lot of coaches over the years, and one guy, I paid him $15,000 to teach me all the things. He goes, when you write something down, 50% of the problem is solved. And he explained it in this way, is that you are, like I mentioned before, taking the trash out of the subconscious mind. You're dumping it on paper. And allow yourself the space, like 3 pages in a journal, just to free write. It could be how I feel, oh, how interesting this lecture was, or my goals, or whatever. Sometimes you can say, I don't know what to write. I'm just writing because Michelle told me to. It's still therapeutic, right? So that journaling can get all of what's ethereal kind of up here into this more tangible space and brain dump and create a bit more space for you to resonate with quiet and peace and calm because you've journaled it all out. And the other component here is we're meant to move. Like if we're sitting all day in clinic writing notes, if we're standing all day in the OR, like we're not really getting the exercise we need. And so all that potential energy can be stored in the mind, and then we're like, yeah, I'm gonna sit here in silence for 20 minutes, and you're like, whoa, like no, you got to get out there. That's why they created like the physical practice of yoga, to prepare the bodies to sit still. So for me, I mean, I love like a high intensity hot power yoga. I love like Pilates on the reformer or like aerial silk, whatever is your thing. Maybe go for a run, go for a swim, go to the gym, like put the music on, like go hard, exhaust your body so that number one, you can be strong enough to sit there for 20 minutes on your own and not experience any pain, numbness, or tingling or whatever. But also your brain is like, yeah, I've exhausted myself. I can totally chill right now. And it's easier to find that silent, still space that way. So, in conclusion, reclaiming silence is a pathway to healing and it's true medicine. And you can practice this for you, yes, You can also teach your patients, just like I taught you, in a matter of 5 minutes, and it will change their life. See, silence is this powerful form of medicine for not only our central nervous system, but it changes the way that our brain is operating. It influences the way that the dentate gyrus and the insular lobe are functioning so we can not only better regulate our stress response, our heart rate, our blood pressure, but we're able to better regulate our emotions. We're able to develop that spiritual alignment and live in our true purpose. And it allows us to enhance our memory and improve our productivity. So I hope you guys, oh, hello. I hope you guys love that today. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and here are my references. I want to invite all of you to our AASPA Wellness Retreat, which is the first one we've ever done in Costa Rica this year from April 25th to May 2nd. You can scan the QR code there. We are offering 5 CME credits, and it's in paradise, so duh. We're doing yoga and aerial silk. We're doing myofascial release. We're doing Reiki sessions, cacao ceremonies, and this is a luxury resort, y'all. It is so beautiful. The price is literally the cost because it's like the first year, so we're just giving this as a gift to you guys. But next year it's going to be at least double. There's just a few more spots left, so if it's something that you're considering, highly recommend you put in that time off request and just let your work pay for it. So we're flying into San Jose, and we're going 4 hours south to Uvita, Costa Rica. We're gonna visit Nayaca Waterfall and Whale's Tail Beach, and it's gonna be tons of fun. So I'd like to open the floor for any questions, any comments. The mic is yours. You guys are so good at being silent. Okay, we're gonna play some popcorn here. We're gonna pop it like it's hot. Adelaide, tell me, how was that for you?
It was really good. I actually was at the AASPA conference last year, and so I heard your lecture about this, and so I've been really interested in trying to integrate meditation more.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Oh, I'm
Uh,
so happy you were at the conference. How was
oh, yeah,
that? Did you like it?
it was great. It was probably one of my biggest highlights that year. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, our conferences, y'all. If you haven't been, you gotta go. It's what, August 17th to 21st this year in Orlando at the Jewett Center. And Adelaide can attest we're like a big ASPA family.
Yeah. If I could, I would go every year, but it's hard to get that time off.
Ooh, yeah, noticing the power of your words too. Like, it's hard to get that time off. I used to feel that way, and I think the way that I asked for it influenced the outcome. And so I offer something to you if you're willing to receive.
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, I like muted myself.
No, that's okay. Um, I now change the way that I say it. I'm like, hey guys, I'm going to this really cool conference August 17th to 21st. Here are the dates that I'll be away. What platform do you want me to submit my CME reimbursement? So you're giving them the information, and then you're also redirecting their attention to solve your problem, which is answering your question. So like, oh yeah, we use Concur Solutions or whatever. You can just submit your receipt there. I'm like, oh, well, thanks. And then guess what? Both of you get what you want because they walk away. They're like, yeah, I solved her problem. I have her dates. Boom. And I'm like, I'm going to the best conference.
I feel a little bad because I have two coworkers who are, doing their PAs and surgical PAs, and if I take that time off, they can't take the time off. So
Oh,
we
I
alternate every
know.
year.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, too. And sometimes that's worth like talking to the team and either getting like a locums in or recruiting help elsewhere so that you guys can all go, or perhaps even inviting the surgeons, so that everyone can have like time off at once.
Yeah, that's something we like to coordinate is we try to convince the surgeons to take time off with us.
Yes, there is always a solution to a problem, right? And I always say, and I'm blunt, so tell me if I'm too much, okay? But I'm like, excuses are abuses. So we're not like saying why we can't, we're just figuring out how we can.
Thank you so much for your advice.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, Allison, tell me, how was that for you?
It was really good. I missed our last little session and I have been coming to meet with you online for a couple months now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just the community you have created and the support from every literal possible aspect has been
Mm.
outstanding. I just really just having you in my corner from the jump has been really cool. And
Oh
you've
my
been really
gosh.
clear about it.
Yes, I'm always in your corner. I'm so happy to support you, Allison.
Yeah, no, thank you. Of
Thank you for sharing. Like, that's our goal
course.
here is to really welcome you with open arms. And we're so much stronger together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, have you ever incorporated intentional silence into your daily routine?
No, yeah, no, not even, I mean, maybe like a yoga class 15 years ago type thing.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So, this is fun. This is something that
Yeah,
you
no,
can
it's
try.
very different from different good. Just one of those things. I think life just has a way sometimes. And I mentioned the topic of the webinar tonight to my husband, who's on the administrative side, and he was like, "This is a hot topic now again
Yeah, it is.
in the literal science of it that you were presenting tonight too. That it's proven. It's not inconsequential. That if you can
Yeah.
help people function better, that's better even for the literal bottom line."
Yeah, for everything. It's like a butterfly
Exactly.
effect. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So give it a try, Allison. And you have me inside Mighty. All of you guys can do this. You go into the little chat function and you type in Michelle Deline and just tell me, like, hey, I sat in silence today. This is how I felt. If you have any questions or like you'd notice like really cool things happen, I want to know all of it. Okay?
Sounds good.
Cool. And Jesselyn, tell me, how was that for you?
Hey, it was wonderful. I loved it. I really like your uh easy to apply little tips at the end. Just taking like your commute and using that as your 20 minutes. I think that that was like such a lovely idea, and easy to incorporate into, just every day. So I really appreciated that aspect.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, like it when we're able to create very simple, influential change, it stacks, right? And it eventually it compounds, and then you notice, you're like, oh wow, this is like really changing my life in profound ways. Then your body, your mind, your spirit gets kind of curious. You're like, oh, instead of driving and using this as my silent hour, maybe I want to take it to the next level and create this like sacred space at home and sit in silence. And oh, you know what's the best? Like when you're in nature, like sometimes I'll go paddleboarding and I'll just lay on the paddleboard and then allow the river to carry me and just like lay in silence. Those are magical moments. So keep me updated, Jesselyn, first with the car, and then if there are any kind of cool, magical, silent experiences that'll arise naturally after.
Yeah, I like that, especially in nature, You can
Yeah.
get some nice background noises to aid with your silence.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Costa Rica too, the birds, they're so beautiful. Like, ugh, it's the best background noise.
Yeah, that sounds lovely. Well, this was very great. I'm gonna head out for the night, but thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye,
Take
Jesselyn.
care.
Bye,
Bye.
Allison. Thanks for joining.
Yes, thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
You're so welcome. See you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.